If you compare parents today with parents from one generation earlier, the difference can be surprising. Many people say millennial parents are more emotionally involved and protective, while Gen X parents tend to be more independent and hands-off. But the reason for this difference isn't random. It comes from the completely different childhoods these two generations experienced. Let's start with Generation X. Gen X grew up during the 1970s and 1980s, a time when both parents working full-time became increasingly common. Many kids would come home from school to an empty house, unlock the door themselves, make a snack, and spend the afternoon figuring things out on their own. Because of this experience, Gen X kids developed independence early in life. They learned to solve problems without asking adults for help and became comfortable handling challenges by themselves. That independence shaped how many of them eventually became parents. Gen X parents often believe children should learn through experience. Instead of stepping in immediately, they may let kids struggle a little first so they can develop resilience and problem-solving skills. Millennials, however, grew up in a different environment. By the time millennials were kids, parenting culture had started to change. Schools and experts encouraged parents to be more involved in their children's lives. Emotional communication and support became a bigger focus. As a result, many millennials grew up in more structured environments compared with Gen X. Now that millennials are becoming parents themselves, they often emphasize emotional awareness. They talk openly with their kids about feelings, mental health, and personal growth. Psychologists often explain parenting styles using two main ideas: warmth and expectations. Warmth means how emotionally supportive a parent is, while expectations refer to rules and responsibilities. Many Gen X parents lean toward independence and life skills, while millennial parents often focus more on emotional connection and communication. Another major difference between the two generations involves technology. Gen X experienced childhood before the internet existed. Entertainment often meant going outside, hanging out with friends, or finding creative ways to pass the time. Millennials, however, grew up during the rise of the internet and digital technology. Now, as parents, millennials must raise kids in a world filled with smartphones, social media, and constant online interaction. Managing technology has become a major part of modern parenting. Despite their differences, both generations share the same goal. They want their children to grow up confident, capable, and ready for the future. Gen X parents often try to achieve this by encouraging independence. Millennial parents often focus on emotional understanding and communication. In reality, both approaches have value, and many families today are blending these ideas together. Because in the end, parenting isn't about following a perfect formula. It's about learning from the past and trying to give the next generation something even better.